Hello, everyone. Welcome to Expand Your Capacity. You can't receive what you haven't built for. My name is Coach Vuyanzi Rodman. Now, who am I really quickly? Don't want to spend too much time on this. I am a transformational life coach, a certified life, career, and executive coach, certified law of attraction coach, author, and TEDx speaker. And of course, today, your host for today's topic. Now, let me tell you my MacBook story. So it was a few years ago that I went to update my MacBook. And lo and behold, I get a message. Now, maybe I should give you some context here. I had had that MacBook for 10 years already. And so I went to update the operating system and I received a message. And the message said, basically the message said, this operating system is too old to accept the capacity of the newer, more updated operating system. Folks, today it is the same with your mindset. I needed a new computer to be able to receive the update that was required. And for many of you here today, what you are going to get is a shift in your mindset so that you too can be able to receive. Now, when we talk about a shift in the mindset, we think of it as a container to be able to receive. See, the mindset is the inner space where we hold for belief, growth, and capacity. What is it that you believe about yourself? What is it that you believe you can receive? Bandwidth in mindset, the emotional and energetic capacity to expand, right? This thing is spiritual, it's energetic. And finally, your old operating system. What is the container? Is the old operating system, which is your old identity, just like my MacBook. Now, what are some of the blocks? Well, we know about the fear firewall, don't we? Don't we? Right? What is the fear firewall? Listen, there are so many different types of fears that I have worked with my clients, but let's just name a few. One is the fear of failure. What if I do this thing, I expand my business, and I fail? What if I hire an additional assistant, but that doesn't work and I fail? What if I launch this new, come on, you know where I'm headed. So the fear of failure for many people and many of my clients have been the blockage from them expanding their capacity to receive. Also, I've seen the fear of the unknown. I used to wrestle with this like, yeah, but I don't know. So because you're not clear on what it is that you're seeing, then it becomes that fear that in turn becomes a roadblock or a firewall to receiving or expanding the capacity in order to receive what it is you want. Let's think about fear of success. Oh my goodness, that is a thing. Yes, some raise your hand. I see you. I see you. Some of you have experienced that. I remember a while back on my YouTube, I used to do actual coaching sessions, and one of the clients on there realized that it was the fear of success that was the problem for her, and that was blocking her from writing her book, from releasing, from doing many of her different gifts that she had within her. So that isn't even the real client story. I have another client story just recently, and it was fear. And what can I say this as? It was a bit of the unknown and a bit of her own story in her head. She was having an event. She's an event planner, and she was hosting her event. And this fear came around the amount that she wanted to charge or was scared to charge for her event. She had created a whole fear story around it. Fear of failure, actually, because she was saying, the people won't buy the tickets because they're going to be too expensive. And so in our session, we worked on that fear of failure. And guess what happened as a result? She charged the original price she wanted to charge, and people bought the tickets and they came. So that is one method in which I have that, I was a witness to her overcoming that fear. Now, another roadblock that prevents us from expanding our capacity is called the upper limit problem. So if you're not familiar with the book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, I would encourage you to read it. So you can not just get the upper limit problem in a nutshell, you can actually read about it and understand more about it. So what is the upper limit problem? It's self-sabotage, but it's in disguise. And what it does is it's driven by some hidden beliefs. What are some examples of those beliefs? Well, I'm not worthy enough. I don't deserve to have this. Oh my gosh, I can't, there's no way I could possibly do this. Yours may sound a bit different, but the concept or the crux of these beliefs are all the same, because what do? They lead you to stay small. They keep you small by default because of the secret self-sabotage and these actions that are driven by these hidden beliefs in the subconscious mind that keeps you small. And then finally, some other blocks. Listen, I haven't exhausted the list. Unfortunately, I wish I would, but so that you're recognizing them in yourself, what's keeping you? Are you disconnected from your why? Why does this matter? Well, many times we can't expand because maybe we're just focused on some surface level things. So what do I mean by that? Many times, how many of you, let's try this, say that your motivation is to make more money, 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 money? How many of you say that okay, so I see you there. You're raising your hand, that you want to make more money. That's why you want to, expand your business. But here's what I have to say about this. Many of you aren't, though. You haven't expanded. You haven't done whatever it is that you wanted to do with your business. Because as much as you're saying, my motivation is money, it's not really the money that's the why. It is the thing that you want that money can get for you. And many of you are disconnected from that, which causes a block in your expansion, your being able to receive. There's doubt and second guessing, self-sabotage. And let's talk about this last bullet: procrastinating, masked as perfectionism. Any perfectionists? Okay. And what happens time and time again? Maybe you're ready to do something, you want to do something, but because it's not perfect, you keep yourself small. It's your turn. Identify what has been holding you back from expanding your container. Take a moment to do that, or you at least write a note to yourself, come back to this, because a lot of this heavy lifting is going to come once this presentation is over and you're on your own. Now, you've identified the blocks, and now you'll work on those. And then you get ready, because it's time to quantum leap. What is a quantum leap? What does she mean? Check it out. A quantum leap is an abrupt change, a sudden increase, a dramatic change. And that's where many of you will be when you're overcoming those blocks. Then you're ready for the quantum leap. Listen, where I pull this from is a book called U Squared by Bryce Pritchett. And this is something he says. He says, quantum leaps require you to abandon the status quo. They demand a willingness to stretch, to challenge logic, and to trust intuition over tradition. Let me say that for the people in the back, because I need you to get this inside of you, that quantum leaps are going to require you to abandon the status quo. They demand a willingness to stretch, to challenge logic, and to trust where? Here, your intuition over tradition. So I want you to think, what would a leap look like in your business? What would it look like in your career? What about your family? What would that sudden increase, that dramatic change look like in your relationships? Take a moment to just jot down some notes, because we're going to go deeper, deeper. Okay. Listen, this is what you need to remember about quantum leaps. They are not baby steps, they are breakthroughs. Quantum leaps come from shifting within. This is inner work that we're talking about, in case you have not gotten it yet. When we're talking about your ability to expand, well, the work has to happen on the inside. If this is not by driving and grinding and pushing harder. Quantum leaps are about faith-driven actions. Well, what is faith? Faith is moving when you don't see something, you don't see even the evidence of something. So imagine having faith-driven actions. And then finally, quantum leaps are about acting as if the extraordinary is more natural than average. Let that sink in. Because a lot of us, our capacity has stayed where it is because you're living average. Average has been okay. But these are for those queens. We're saying average isn't okay. Well, then you make the quantum leap and you act as if the extraordinary is natural. Folks, I'm trying to figure out which client story to tell you, because I started off with one and I'm like, oh my goodness. But I can tell you about a couple of different stories that have sounded the same. And what is that? That they have shifted their identity. Hear me. They've changed what they were doing. They made a decision that they were going to what? Quantum leap. And therefore, I've had clients who see business breakthroughs. What kind of breakthroughs am I talking about? I'm talking about business breakthroughs where in between our 2 weeks of calls that they say, I just got 4 contracts that I wasn't expecting. What? I just got a call from an old job that I loved, an old contract that I loved, and them offering it back to me. Say what? This is a drastic change, these client stories. That's what quantum leaping is all about. Queen, now your turn. What will it take for you to quantum leap your business? Listen, I encourage you, take a picture of this slide, write down the question. Let's go. Now, this is about alignment. We want to take a quantum leap. However, we want to do an alignment check to make sure that this is what alignment looks like. Listen, alignment is about being in sync. Well, what is it that's in sync? Well, think about your mind. Think about your actions, and think about your words. Your mind, actions, and your words. Are they aligned? Are they in sync? In sync with what? With the quantum leap that you are going to be taking? Is everything in alignment? Are you saying no to what's not in? I'm going to go as far as to say divine alignment for your heading towards the life you desire. Yeah, sometimes it is subtraction that leads you to the what? The addition. Saying no to what is not aligned to where is it that you're going, your quantum leap. And sometimes, right, when you say no, you're in alignment because you're able to create the space to be able to receive, creating space to be able to receive. This is what alignment looks like. Now, I love this real life example of creating space. And I know you've heard stories like this, but I want to reiterate this story because this is about my own personal plant that's sitting outside on my balcony. It was in a small pot, about like, let's say about this big or so. And my house manager said, I want to put this in the other pot. And I was like, all right, go ahead. And she took it out of this very small pot and put it in this bigger one. She created space for it to grow. She created space for it to grow. And that is what it did. When you're seeing this, what this plant it was a fraction of the size, and in no time, because she created the capacity by repotting it in a bigger pot, she created the capacity for it to grow even more. My friends, queens, I had a client who simply expanded her capacity by starting to say no. Some of you need to hear that. I don't know who, but someone needs to hear that right now. No, just say it with me. One, two, three. No. Because by doing that, she became more in alignment with what it was that she wanted, where her quantum leap was going. And therefore, she expanded her capacity to do what? To receive. Now, what are we talking about? This identity shift. Understand what it is. You build the inner version of the success you want. Remember, I said we're talking about the inside. So you build it on the inside first. Now then you shift to your self-image, right? How not just you're seeing yourself, but how others are seeing you, to do what? To begin to scale this business. And as you scale, there's a lot of talk about brand work. But this brand work is actually about a mindset shift. This is how you begin to shift your identity from the old operating system to the new operating system that will therefore help you quantum leap and get the results that you want in your business, not just in your business, but in your life. So let's take a picture, if you will, and see how we can capture this new identity through a sentence. So this sentence is taken from Daniel Pink's book called Drive. And he said, this is one of two sentences that can questions that can change your life. The question is, what's your sentence? Yeah, it's really a simple question. But he's saying that this question can change your life, arguably. What's your sentence? So you start with the what? The end in mind. So you write it like you're writing a eulogy, but remember, this is a single sentence. It's not a eulogy, it's a single sentence. Also in that sentence, you think about, what do I want to be remembered for? And then finally, you think about, what is it that sets you apart? Here's my sentence. Here's an example, but it's my sentence. Vuyanzi Rodman, it's me, used her voice to educate, inspire, and transform the lives of women leaders around the world. You hear that? I started with the end in mind. I said what I wanted to be known for, and I said what sets me apart. Now, of course, you got to know it's your turn. Time for you to create your sentence. A lot of this heavy lifting is after the presentation. So no, you're not going to finish it. However, let's talk about the importance of this sentence. Your sentence is now your North Star. Do you hear that? Your sentence is now your North Star. What's a North Star? In case anyone is confused, that means this sentence is going to guide you. It guides you into how you will expand your capacity. It guides you into your quantum leap. It guides you as far as your alignment. This sentence is critical. Put it somewhere where you can see it at all times, because you want to make sure you are in your identity shift, that you're creating that space to become who this person is in your sentence or your North Star. So, what have we covered today? We talked about to expand your capacity to be able to receive in what your container, the fear firewall, fear of success, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. We could keep going on about the fear. We talked about the upper limit problem, and that is self-sabotage in disguise, identifying any other blocks that you may have to really expanding your capacity to be able to receive. We talked about quantum leaps. That's the dramatic change, a sudden increase in your life, what that look like, and the alignment in order to help you get there. And finally, your sentence, your North Star. So now, what are your next steps? Well, listen, you want to deepen your discovery of yourself, shift and quantum leap like never before. How can you do that? Folks, queens, it's time for your power reset. Many of you started your businesses with this amazing momentum, your amazing power. You were empowered, making changes, having confidence. But then all of a sudden, you become a little bit stagnant in your growth. You come up to that fear to come to get to the next level, whether it's the fear of success or the fear of failure. Some of you are not in touch with what drove you to the thing in the first place. So I encourage you today to be a part of my 3-day power reset, where you will discover what excites you. Why did you get into this business in the first place? You'll realign your purpose. Remember, thinking about that alignment so that you can position yourself for expansion. Think about your North Star and how a power reset can help you attain what it is that you truly desire in your life. I don't believe in coincidences. And I believe if you've watched this far and if you are listening, then this is your alarm clock of destiny. What do they say? When the student is ready, the teacher appears. Queen, it is time for you to upgrade your operating system. So the question really becomes, will you delay your destiny? Now, how much is it to join the 3-day power reset? Well, that is $99, where you get 3 days of training. There are virtual recorded sessions that you receive, journal worksheets, and action steps. Okay, again, the power reset consists of 3 days of training, which have been already pre-recorded for you, journal worksheets, and the action steps that can help you reset the power in your life so that you can head on to your North Star. There is going to be a link attached to this presentation. And if you don't get to that link, you can always look for the power reset on VuyanziCoaches.com. I am Vuyanzi, VuyanziCoaches.com. I hope that you will take advantage of this. So no longer do you have to be stagnant and upset because you're not growing. All you need is a power reset. So this has been Expand Your Capacity. You can't receive what you haven't built for. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Vuyanzi Rodman, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.